Hi guys, and welcome to another video on competitive Call of Duty. And unfortunately for all you are going to be watching me playing Blackout again, but this is probably one of my better games I've had. It ends up being a 10 kill victory for me in the end in a squad. Of course they had quite a few kills as well, but we did well. It was a good game. I got a little bit excited towards the end. Hopefully I'll stop waffling before then, as it was quite an interesting ending with some poor shooting, as you probably imagine, to be fair. But we're going to be discussing somewhat of a serious topic in the Call of Duty scene at the moment. There has been a lot of speculation recently around whether it is going to be 4v4 next year for Black Ops 4 or 5v5. Now, for me, I actually haven't got a clue. You know, I mean, I don't want to sit here and pretend like I know what's going on. I don't. I've heard from multiple different people who I would expect to know different things. I would expect these people to know whether it is going to be 4v4 or 5v5. I've heard both options from different people. So, realistically, I don't actually have a Scooby as to which way we're going to be going with this. But I'm going to weigh in because, for me, I would prefer us to stay at 4v4. Personally, I'm going to weigh in with the positives, try and say some positives about 5v5, but I mean, I really struggled to come up with them, to be honest with you. Positives for 4v4. We have done it forever. We have done it forever. Teams are used to it. You know, it doesn't mean that anybody has to really change up their game. It's 4v4 again. We go into it, yes, another different game, as obviously we do have every single year. But going to 5v5 is a big change from just playing 4v4. It just ultimately comes down to that in the game. It keeps the cost for orgs a lot lower as well, which helps these smaller organisations try to get themselves established into the scene if they want to, of course. But I mean, that's not a humongous big problem in the grand scheme of things. You know, we've got a lot of organisations who are already involved in the scene, who will have the money to back their players if needs be, if it does go to 5v5. I think the biggest argument for me for 4v4 against 5v5 is 4v4 is going to be a lot less frantic. I think you already look at this game, and one of the big points that's sometimes made where we may not have as many casual fans watching is because of how frantic it is. It can be so fast at 4v4, a lot of engagements, a lot of kills and deaths going down at multiple different times, and even as a caster who's done it for years, it's sometimes very difficult to recognise what's going on the odd occasion, just because of how crazy games can get, which we do love that about Call of Duty. We love how crazy they can be, we love how fast and frantic it can be, but it can be very hard for somebody who isn't necessarily, you know, clued up on competitive Call of Duty to manage to follow the game. By the way, pick up a war machine here. It gets real very quickly. Anyway, back to the point. It's just going to be a lot more frantic, I feel, in a 5v5 scenario. Possibly further alienating some people who, you know, don't really know what's going on. And I think that is something that's a bit more prevalent, probably in Hardpoint, I would say. S&D probably doesn't affect you as much, or, you know, it could affect it. I'm going to go further into it further down the line. Positives for 5v5, and, you know, I did really struggle to come up with many, which is probably one of the bigger arguments, to be honest with you. But if it does go to 5v5, you could argue that the audience engaging with competitive for the first time will look and see, well, okay, we're playing pubs 5v5, these guys play 5v5 as well. You could argue that that will make a difference, but is it going to make much of a difference? Is it going to bring in all these extra viewers? Is it going to be that much of a positive for people to start watching? I don't know. I don't know if that really is it. It's difficult to argue. It is very difficult to argue. A positive, another one, is the maps are literally supposed to have been built for 10 players. So, you know, as the designers intended for them to be used, they would be being used in competitive in a 5v5 scenario for 10 people on the map. So there is that. They have been designed for this specific amount of people. But as I said, I mean, that is really it, what I've come up with for positives. That's pretty much it. And, I mean, I'm going to start to wrap it up because I think the argument to stay 4v4 is compelling, to be honest with you. I think it's much more reasonable to be going down that route. But ultimately, it comes down to the big bosses who make these sort of decisions, who are a lot smarter and paid a lot more money than I am. So, you know, I really don't have a say in it, so to speak. And I think whatever happens, whether the community is pleased about 5v5 coming or not, we have a fantastic game on our hands for next year. We've seen it in the beta. A lot of people really liked it, myself included. I loved the original beta. I am absolutely adoring Blackout, which I'm going to discuss competitiveness on that in another video at some point. But for me, I think having such a great game coming up, it might not actually matter what we're playing. Are we playing 4v4? Are we playing 5v5? Right, okay, yeah, it would have been nice to know maybe a little bit earlier. There's the positives and negatives, but ultimately, if the game is good, the maps are good, we're on to a winner. I think we're in for a very big year. If there's going to be 5v5, we just have to try it. That's the thing. You know, if the decision is made for us to go 5v5, then it can't be changed because we're already getting very close towards the beginning of the season, and I can't see them having an event as a 5v5 and then turning around and changing it back to 4v4. It just creates so many logistical nightmares. You can argue it till you're blue in the face. If it happens, it happens, and then we just have to go with it. Realistically, we haven't had hands-on in the game in a 5v5 scenario. There's the War Machine big play coming out right there, by the way. Massive stuff. Never got my hands on a War Machine until then, and 4 people jump on a supply drop instantly as soon as I've got it in my hand, so that was lucky. But anyway, back to the argument. Until we've had our hands on the game in a competitive scenario, playing 5v5 or playing 4v4, it's really difficult to give much of an opinion of how it is actually going to run. You know, I've said my positives and negatives that I feel before playing the game in an actual competitive setting. So realistically, I think everybody so has to realize that we have to suck it and see. You know, we really do not know which direction it's going to go in until we actually get our hands on the game and get playing it for a little while. As said, for me, I'd like to see 4v4 remain. Realistically, I think it's the safe option. It is really the safe option. Everybody knows what they're doing. As said, there's not really any negatives to staying 4v4. But realistically, the change could happen. I feel as if, after this evidence we've seen this week, that it may just well happen. I do think that it has actually come just a little bit too late. I feel as if the information maybe could have been relayed a little bit faster. That would have definitely been more beneficial. But either way, if it does happen, we have a fantastic game on our hands either way. Let's not try and taint it by any negativity if this is what happens. Let's just try and get on with it. Unfortunately for a few people, they probably won't see it that way, but as said, fantastic game coming up with Black Ops 4. I'm really looking forward to it. If it's going to be 4v4 or 5v5, I don't care. I'm so excited for what's going to be happening next year, especially looking forward to Las Vegas. Hopefully, I will see you guys there. But that's going to end it for now. If you've got any opinions on whether you think it's going to be 4v4 or 5v5 or what you would like to see, of course, then please leave them in the comments, and I will be back with you for another video very shortly, guys. We will see you then at the next one. Thanks, guys.
It's not even that, it's how much you hit them when they're down. They're gonna have no health if they get, like, there's no way they're not dead. There's literally no way at all they're not dead. I would piss myself if I got to kill. I'm killing him on, like, down here.
Safe zone evac orders are in effect.
Trying to play this smart.
7 of those left, one.
Circle collapse imminent. Get to safety.
I know what I'm doing.
I know that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, come on. That is a very smart gun, I read.
More grapple gun, more ammo, and the molly.
Please.
I'm gonna chill here just for a second.
Don't.
I know. Yeah, I'm safe. I'm safe.
You're gonna play it like the fucking.
You're gonna try it earlier, fucking, when they run through the door, grapple over, and remember that shot that you fucking.
Another one, right? Oh, you've been picked. Right, blind down.
Shit,
Major
bastard.
instability detected. Evac to safe zone.
Finish it. It's a free kill. That's a bot. If ever I've seen one. Fucking
There's
hell.
one. 1v2. 1v2.
Circle collapse imminent. Get to safety.
That's a smoke.
You see that?
This is Molly.
Storm,
No.
I've whipped it. I've absolutely whipped it.
Woo! As if I've won that.
Mission area secure.
How many kills did you have?
10.
There's your video.
Next.